some of the entrepreneurs who you're probably dealing with probably have a little bit of a head start in terms of thinking around their personal brand. Oftentimes, the employees have never really had to do this because their career progression to now has come through the people that they've known in their business, and their personal brand, if you will, has all been done within the company to get themselves the jobs. And now they're looking kind of outside of that world. So when you work with CFO who comes to you and says, hey, look, I want to build my profile, starting from the beginning, what's kind of the steps that you take and where are you trying to get them to?
Well, the first and most important part is something that almost nobody thinks of when we talk about personal branding and LinkedIn. And what that is algorithm alignment. As you mentioned earlier, Callum, there's lots of people that sort of say, oh, we're going to do stuff on LinkedIn. And to be honest, anybody could make a profile look professional and presentable. It's really not that hard. What the real skill is making sure that LinkedIn algorithms understand, who you are, who your audience is, and where you want to show up in the LinkedIn world, so to speak. And that's what we call algorithm alignment. So it's all the key little areas on your profile that you need to have certain, so it's sort of like keywords, I suppose. Think of it like SEO for LinkedIn. So that's the first step. You got to actually start with that. And how you do that, one of the key things, the easiest way for somebody to do this themselves is to activate a tool that everybody has access to. It doesn't matter whether you're on a free account or premium accounts, everyone has access now, which is called Creator Mode. If you just log into your profile, and easier to do on a desktop, but if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see what's called your dashboard. And the very first thing you'll see in there is it says Creator Mode. And if you haven't activated it, it says Creator Mode off. Clearly, you got to turn it on. When you do that, though, it's going to ask you to input up to 5 hashtags. And this is where the real alignment has to be, is because often people will think, oh, yeah, I've got to put a hashtag, and there's lots of different ways people will think about what hashtag would put there. But what it's trying to do is make an alignment between that hashtag, those hashtags that you put there. As I said, it can be up to 5. It doesn't have to be 5, but 5's the maximum. And what it's trying to do is see in the future, when you start creating content, hence it's called Creator Mode, is that the content you're sharing and the audience that would be interested in that content align with at least one of those 5 hashtags. So it's the really critical thing to do before you start sort of, developing your profile, is to think through, who is your audience? Who do you want to show up for in front of searches? Because that's what LinkedIn wants to do. They want to show your profile to people that they think, someone you want to be connecting with and interacting with. And we've got to give them the tools to do that. So that's the first thing. What are those subject matters that in content that when you start creating content that you would be writing about? And that's the first part. The second really critical part is down the bottom, more down towards the bottom of your profile. And whilst it's not overly visible to a lot of people, it plays a big role in this same process, which is called your skills. And you can have up to 50 skills. And again, so people think about this like, oh, I have a skill in WordPress, or I have a skill within using Xero, or whatever it might be. What is really LinkedIn's looking at, especially the first 3, you'll see that pinned at the top, and then you have this whole bunch of that sit underneath it. And those first 3 are, again, they're looking to make an alignment between your audience, who you want to show up in front of, and what you want to be talking about. And that those top 3 skills, not necessarily as in skills you have in an expertise. Think of them again exactly the same as those ones up the top.